Hi guys, and welcome to the world of 28mm. I'm Adam, and in this episode we're going to be taking a look at some fantasy sort of water features. So you're going to need some MDF for this one, a bit of balsa wood, some good old filler, some PVA, and some water effects. Okay, so let's head down to the table and we'll crack on. Okay, so here we have our pond. What I've done initially is I've marked it out on a bit of MDF, and then I've beveled all of these edges just by taking the corner off, and then I've taken a light bit of sandpaper to it and just smoothed off all those edges. And as you can see, our models will sit nicely on each of the edges. Okay, and that's why we bevel these edges, and plus for the smooth transition. Okay, so how do we go about creating our pond? So we need to make a ridge first of all, and that's why I've got a rough outline in the middle of our pond itself. So I've got some balsa wood here to my right, and what we're going to do is we're just going to use this balsa wood to create a lip. Okay, and this lip is going to sit, like I say, on that blue line. Now, when you put your lip together, it doesn't have to meet exactly, just as long as it makes that lip around the outside, so the water effect can't escape, shall we say. Okay, so I'm just going to carry on chopping some bits up. Going to make this ridge around the outside. Any gaps, don't worry about it too much in between the pieces of balsa wood. Because we're going to put some stuff over it later, just to we can cover all of those up. So I'm going to go around all the edges now with this balsa wood. I'm going to PVA it down so we create that barrier, and then we'll come back and we'll go on to the next step. So let's see you in a sec. Okay, so next up, we now have to blend these pieces of balsa wood into the same gradient as the slope. Otherwise we'll end up with this very harsh ridge going around, and you'll be able to tell that there's a substructure underneath. Okay, so to keep that gradient, all we're going to do is we're going to take our knife and we're going to bevel the edges of these. Like that. You can use sandpaper to do this. Probably should have actually done it with sandpaper, it would have been a little bit easier. But doing it this way, having that long blade, enables you to make sure that you're keeping that line on the balsa wood. Okay, so I'm just going to go and I'm going to bevel all of this off now, and we'll come back when it's done. Okay, see you in a sec. Okay, so all the corners are now beveled on the balsa wood, and I just took a bit of fine sandpaper and just went around the edges, and that transitioned it nicely into the MDF underneath. Okay, so our next bit is to take some filler, and we're just going to cover up all of these all of this bits of balsa wood and things like that. Okay, so we're just going to take a nice little splodge on our finger, and we're going to work it across both the balsa wood and MDF. Now, if you're having the problem that you can see me having at the minute, that it's not spreading very well, I've got a touch of water here. We're just going to spread it around like this. And this will seal your MDF, as well as covering up all those cracks and things like that. Okay, so that gives you the idea there. So I'm going to do this whole piece, obviously not the middle bit, but I'm going to filler all the outside and just cover up all the balsa wood and the MDF. Okay, so I'll see you in a sec. So this is all dry now, as you can see, we've got a nice coverage on there of our filler, and you can see just around the inside what I've done is I've put some more filler just to create like a slope down into the water around the inside. Okay, and it's the same as doing this bit, just put a little clump in, get some water on your finger and just run it across, but make sure you get that sort of concave effect around the middle. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to grit it and flock it and grass it and all of that. I'll put up a series of photos just so it saves on video time, and I'll see you guys when it's all done. Okay, so there we are guys, it's all flocked up, a bit of static grass and a bit of clump foliage, looking quite pretty. So what we're going to do now, because this is a fantasy one, you know, if you wanted to do a realistic, what I'd probably do is some rocks and things on the bottom and do a brown and an ochre rather than this way, but because this is fantasy, I'm going to be using, we've got blue, we've got two blues, we've got a dark blue and a light blue, and we're going to use these to create our pond bed, I guess. Okay, so we're just going to take this one, take this dark blue first, and just slap it onto here. Should have used a big brush. So we just want to basically go up to that lip that we've created with the dark blue, and that will give the impression of that it's deeper in the middle, as it should be, than it is on more towards the shoreline, so to speak. So a quick recap for the painting. The camera decided not to record it again. I think I might get a new one. So I've done the middle of it with that dark blue, as you saw me do, and then without washing off my brush from this dark blue, I've then gone into this lighter blue and gone around the outside. And then when you start running out of paint on your brush, before you reload, just go in and feather it inwards so that you get a gradient from the original colour to the mix of these two. And then around the edge I've just taken this out on its own, no mixing, and I've just done it right around the lip. Okay, so you get that sort of deep effect. Okay, so I'm just going to let all this paint dry, and then we'll come back and we will put some water effects in it. Okay, so see you guys in a minute. Okay, so now the paint's all dry, we're going to put some water effect in it. Now I'm not going to use the usual stuff. I've got the Woodland Scenics and the Vallejo. Luke's APS did a thing. Go and check his channel out. He did a thing on the Poundland 2-part epoxy resin, so I thought I'd give it a crack. Okay. So let's see how this goes. I'm going to chop the ends off. I'm not going to use the whole lot. Don't think I'll need to. Alright, I'm going to stop it there. Out of the way. Okay, and now we've got it in there. Going to give it a bit of a stir around and spread it out. As I say, it's my first time working with this stuff, so if it all goes wrong, it's Luke's fault. But I figured it'd be a good experiment. I think I might put a bit more in there actually. Okay, so I'm going to give this a mix up because apparently it takes a little bit to mix properly. So I'm going to pause the camera here, mix it up, and then I'll come back when it's all dry. Okay, and there we have our finished pond. It's looking quite nice, and the resin has come out quite nicely in the middle. It's nice and hard. Do it so you can hear a tap. Yeah, I think that's quite successful. Okay, so we'll go up for the outro, and I'll see you guys in a sec. Okay, so there we have our pond. Okay, I think it's quite nice, and I'll quite happily put it on my table. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this episode. Quick thank you to Luke from Luke's APS for the old resin. It went successful, so you're alright, Luke. So yeah, like it if you like it, share if you think anyone else would like to see it, and don't forget to subscribe for next week's episode. Okay, have fun guys.